This is Golden Years, a roadmap to navigate retirement with Mark Cordner, the podcast.
The clock is ticking a little faster on Social Security. There's a new report by the Congressional Budget Office. They now say they expect the program's trust fund to run dry a year earlier. So now it's going to be in 2032, they're saying, versus 2033. So if Congress does absolutely nothing, Social Security recipients would see an average 28% cut in monthly benefits, guys. Kind of a big deal. That's $18,000 a year we're talking about. How can future retirees plan for this possibility before it happens, Mark?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I got mixed feelings about this. We certainly have precedent historically for Congress dealing with this, but typically it's in the final moments, right before midnight, as it were. And I mean, we go back to 1983. We were in the exact same predicament, and we had this great compromise that was struck between Tip O'Neill, the Democrats, and Ronald Reagan, and they made changes to Social Security. It was at that time that they postponed full retirement age from 65 until age 67, and they also implemented a tax on Social Security benefits. And so if they simply do the same thing now, postpone the full retirement age out to 70, for example, and make Social Security fully taxable, that could remedy a lot of things right there. I mean, it's going to have to be incremental changes. But the biggest issue is that people are living longer, and so our expectations need to change as to how long the government can support us, because when Social Security was introduced in 1935, it was expected that very few people would claim it because life expectancy was 62 years old and the benefit kicked in at 65. So if people collected, it was going to only be for a couple years. And you had like 42 workers for every beneficiary. It was a really strong program back in the 1930s, but nowadays we've only got 2 or 3 workers for every beneficiary, and people are expecting to claim benefits for 20 and 30 years, and that's just not realistic. It's not financially viable. So yes, they're going to have to make changes, and my advice to people is, I think if you're over 50, it's probably not going to affect you. It's going to affect the next generation, our kids, but nonetheless, we need to plan on being self-sufficient with or without government benefits, because there's some things we can control in life, and there's some things we can't. So let's focus on what we can control, and that is getting various forms of income to support us and doing the tax planning and the risk management and all of that in advance. So come visit with us. If these things concern you, they rightfully should, but it's not something to lose sleep over. There's things we can do to prepare, and it's just a matter of getting together. So come visit with us, and we can remove that anxiety for people.
I was just going to say, you make it sound so simple. Hey, don't lose sleep over this. There's things that we can do. Meanwhile, folks listening right now could easily, and maybe even rightfully so, be in a full-on panic going, what do you mean? It's going to, take my average down at 28% in monthly benefits. What do you mean? That's $18,000 a year. And, oh, my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, again, it's all about that risk planning, that Social Security analysis. And I've heard a lot of folks say, hope for the best, plan for the worst. Essentially, plan as if you're not going to receive 100% of these promised benefits. Planning to live on Social Security and retirement. I mean, guys, that's not even a plan. Even if it was, or if it is for you, it's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, it never was intended to be the primary source of income. If you look at the actual Social Security statement that, was sent out each year from the Social Security Administration, it tells us, and has for decades, it tells us right on that front page, this is designed to supplement personal savings and any pensions. So, again, it was never designed to be there for everyone. And now, you've said a couple times, it would be an $18,000 reduction. That we just got to recognize before people get too scared, that's an average, so that will be what some people experience. It won't be quite that bad for others. On a percentage basis, we're talking about a big hit. And so the good news, I think, for people over the age of 50 is whenever Congress talks about changing rules, they tend to look to people under the age of 50. So most of the people we're working with are between the age of 50 and 75, particularly 55 to 70, is that real transition time. And for the most part, I don't think they're going to be as affected as much. But again, we've all got to change our mentality about how much the government's going to be able to save us. We've really got to take responsibility for our own lives, and that's how we help people, is kind of those moment of truth. We have a saying in the office, let's get real or let's not play.
I like that. And taking control of your financial future, not depending on, like you mentioned, of course, a few moments ago, Uncle Sam. He's not going to do it for you. The government's not going to do it for you. You have to start putting this financial plan together. And how do you do that? Well, what about putting together a retirement roadmap? I mean, this is, after all, golden years, a roadmap to navigate retirement. Let's help you navigate retirement with this custom tailored retirement roadmap created just for you. That's 702-996-4050. That's accounting for things like your Social Security, your income plan, taxes. I mean, you name it. Everything's going to be on this retirement roadmap. 702-996-4050. 702-996-4050. The website, of course, mygoldenyearsroadmap.com. You know, the two main savings vehicles for retirement are your 401k and an IRA. Well, both can hold a mix of tax-deferred and even after-tax money. And in a 401k, there is a plan administrator who keeps track of this. But in an IRA, you are the plan administrator. So it's on you to know which dollars have already been taxed. Well, here's IRA whisperer Denise Appleby on Morningstar.
The primary reason for saving in IRAs is so that your earnings grow tax deferred and you pay taxes only when you take distributions of those amounts. It's about saving on taxes, and you lose all that benefit if you don't keep track of your after-tax amounts. You know, the tax preparer use what you give them. So don't assume that they know. Make sure you tell them about every type of transaction that occurs within your IRA.
Okay, so interesting here. I mean, that's where a lot of people get tripped up, Mark. When you do a yearly tax review for clients, is this something you identify so there's absolutely no confusion or, God forbid, costly mistakes?
Well, yeah, it's rarely a problem for my clients. And, I appreciate Denise bringing this up. She's a really nice lady. I met her at a conference a few years ago, and we've spoken on the phone since. Really bright lady. What she's referring to there is that some people will fund a tax-deductible IRA, and they will defer taxes until such time as they take the money out. But in addition to that, they will also fund what's called an after-tax IRA. Now, this is not common. We saw this few decades ago more commonly, but not so much now. But sometimes people will put money in after tax, so they're not getting a deduction now, and the earnings on those monies would be taxed if the money's not converted to Roth IRA. So you really got to, I think her key point is you've got to keep the money segregated. And there was a time when people didn't keep it separate. And so my advice to people is if you're going to do that, well, let's set up an account for after-tax contributions and set up a different account for pre-tax contributions. And that way you can keep things clear. But she's exactly right. It is the responsibility is on each IRA owner to be aware of what they have done in the past. And if they're not, to be working with someone who can help them track these things. Because when they get to the CPA is usually going to make some assumptions that it's all tax deferred, and then you're paying a double tax, as she says, and that would be unfortunate. So, yeah, we welcome those kind of questions. Have people come talk to us on it, but I think those problems are avoidable with a little forethought. Yeah, so if you have questions about these things, come visit with us. There's different kinds of IRAs, and after-tax money can be converted to Roth. Roth is tax-free, so come visit with us, and let's learn how to get the most tax-advantaged position you possibly can for your money, ideally tax-free, legally, of course.
Absolutely. Legally being that key word there, being tax efficient, and, of course, having those most efficient tax advantages there for you. And you can do that today with this tax analysis, again, that we'll do custom and tailor-made just for you. That phone number, 702-996-4050, 702-996-4050. That website, mygoldenyearsroadmap.com. It seems someone is always trying to stick you with some hidden fees. I mean, literally. The latest comes from the car industry. The Wall Street Journal reports that there's a so-called destination charge. Yes, that's real. Destination charges to cover the cost of shipping a new car or truck. And they have jumped as much as 50%. That can add thousands of dollars to that sticker price without the buyer even realizing it. Hidden fees are also something that lurk in retirement plans. So, Mark, how do you help stop them before they cause sticker shock?
Well, I don't know that we can stop fees because there's a cost of doing business, and that's just a reality of life. So fees in and of themselves are not bad. The question is, are you getting a benefit proportional to the fees that you're paying. Are you getting benefits for the fees? And that's where it gets a little tricky, because when we look, for example, at studies like the Wall Street Journal has done regarding 401k plans, they came out many years ago and said the average 401k fees are about 3.5% a year. Well, that's far more than most people realize. Most people are assuming they're about 1.5 or maybe half of that. And really, it's about 3 times that. So there's a number of different costs. I mean, you've got expense charges embedded in the mutual funds that are popular within 401k plans. You've got plan administration costs. Sometimes there's advisory fees if there's a financial advisor involved in working with the team. There's also the biggest cost is the trading cost, which don't have to be disclosed, because a lot of these funds are actively managed and they're constantly trading the holdings within the fund, and every time they trade, they generate a fee which gets passed on to the buyer. And why does this matter? Well, quite simply, a single 1% fee over time can have a dramatic reducing effect on the future value of the account. And so again, it's not that the fees are bad. The question is, are you getting benefits sufficient to justify the fees? And so come visit with us. If you don't know what you're paying, we can do an analysis for you of your portfolio and give you a much better idea of what's really happening. And if you need to look at alternatives, we can certainly show those to you as well. We don't work for any financial institution or insurance company or anything like that. We deal with those institutions, but we're working for the client, and we're finding the best opportunities for the client. So sometimes it does mean repositioning your money out of a particular kind of plan. I'm doing that right now with a client. Matter of fact, he's a friend from church who had come to me, and I rarely work with people from church, but he had come to me and looking to retire this next year. We're able to roll money out of his 401k while he's still in the service of his employer. He doesn't have to wait until he's fully retired. He's able to take control of his money prior to retirement, reposition the money into investments that are more appropriate for his goals, and do that in advance. So he's getting things lined up, as it were, so that when he does retire, it's off on a cruise, baby. Going to go have fun kind of thing, because the work has been done in advance. Let us show you some ideas for how to reposition things. 5 to 10 years prior is ideal, certainly 5 years prior, because there's a lot we can do to improve your situation with advanced planning. You don't want to call us a week after retirement. Well, I mean, we can still help you, but if you call us a week after retirement, we're going to be limited on some of the things we can do for you. And that, unfortunately, is often the case. People will jump out of work because they hit this magic age of 65, and they often didn't know what their pension amount was going to be prior to the retirement, or if there was a pension. It's amazing what some people will do. So don't jump off of that fast-moving train, as I call it, of the workforce before you're ready. Come visit with us, and let's get things lined up so when you do jump, you can actually fly and have a wonderful future.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, especially if you are 5 to 10 years away from retirement, especially if you're in that 5-year waiting time, guys. You do some advanced planning today to give yourself a better position moving forward, and doing something as we offer today, this complimentary portfolio analysis, allows you to kind of peel back those layers, discover some fees that you're paying that are unnecessary, and discover some different options where maybe the fees are lower and you get better return from that. I mean, you kind of get what you pay for, right? There's got to be value for the fee that you're paying. Do you have that value? Well, find out with this portfolio analysis. 702-996-4050. 702-996-4050. That website, of course, mygoldenyearsroadmap.com. You know, we talk a lot about the importance of building your regular paycheck here on the show. Well, JP Morgan found that if you have 60 to 80% of your income from guaranteed sources, you'll spend 44% more than retirees who don't. It reduces spending anxiety and supports higher standard of living. So what would those guaranteed sources be? And do your clients have that much in that bucket?
Well, absolutely. I mean, our clients very commonly do. I mean, you get guaranteed income from a variety of sources. Primarily for most people, it's Social Security. Sometimes there's still a pension. And then very popular now are these income annuities. Income annuities are contracts that you enter into with insurance companies where they will create a guaranteed stream of income for you, contractually guaranteed that you can't outlive it. And so you can set it up for a limited period of time, or more commonly, people set it up for their entire lifetime. And it's really with longevity in mind, because few of us know quite how long we're going to live, and most of us are going to live 5 or 10 years longer than we expect. And so the biggest concern people have is running out of money. That's the number one fear. The fear is not dying. It's running out of money and becoming dependent upon other people. And so we can entirely eliminate that problem with these income contracts. So they're not investments like mutual funds. They're actual insurance contracts, income contracts that contractually guarantee you the security you need. And I love that you highlighted this study, because there's a number of these studies that have come out now, and they're fascinating to me because basically what they tell us are people who have guaranteed sources of income are happier. That's without question, they are happier. They have less stress in their life, and they live longer, which is a really interesting kind of unexpected outcome of this. It's probably a fact that they have less stress. I mean, think of your friends who have pensions, police officers and the like, who maybe had stressful lives, but now they have these pensions, and they tend to live a long time when they have a paycheck coming into the mailbox or dropping into the bank account automatically every month. I mean, it's this encouragement to spend more, as your study suggested, people spending 44% more. If you know that money's coming in on a contractual basis every future month of your life, then it actually liberates you to enjoy that money, which is a wonderful thing. I mean, people don't realize how significant that is. Particularly good savers. People who have been good savers often have a hard time transitioning into a spending mode in retirement. And so I'm working with a man right now where he actually initiated this with us. He came to one of our classes and said, hey, I have plenty of income, but I like this idea of kind of forcing myself to spend. And so what we're doing is we're creating a structured spending plan so that he doesn't just dream about the vacations. Because the money's hitting the bank account, he actually spends it. Which is, it's a wonderfully liberating thing for people to enjoy their money when that may not be the easy thing for some of us to do.
Investment advisory services offered through Golden Years Financial LLC, a registered investment advisory firm. Insurance is offered through Golden Years Insurance Services. These firms do not provide legal or tax advice. Consult your own legal and tax advisors before taking actions that may have tax implications. Investing in securities involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Insurance contracts principal protection is based on the claim-paying ability of the respective insurer. None of the information contained on this website shall constitute an offer to sell or solicit to buy a security or insurance product. The information and opinions contained on this site or requested from this site are provided by third parties believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. They are provided for informational purposes only and are not a solicitation to buy or sell any of the products mentioned. Any media logos and or trademarks contained herein are the property of their respective owners, and no endorsement by those owners of Mark Cordner, Golden Years Financial, or Golden Years Insurance is stated or implied.